From Yerevan to your smartphone, this is CivilNet's Daily News Digest for Tuesday, October 29th. I'm Paul Chaderjian.
And I'm Maria Titizian. In today's Digest,
Armenia's economic slowdown. The Prime Minister tells lawmakers who's to blame.
Plus, an expert on the South Caucasus explains why she thinks peace negotiations have slowed down.
Georgia's dream team steals the show and wins the election.
Plus, composers and musicologists elect a new president for their union.
Later, the stress, the drama, and the stories that are fit to print will tell you where you can experience the New York Times.
Parliamentary commissions discussed the 2014 state budget today, taking time to hear Prime Minister Sarkisyan's take on the state of the nation's economy.
The Prime Minister told some of the parliamentarians present that Armenia's economy had slowed down in 2013. He said there are external and domestic reasons for the slowdown, including economic downturns in Armenia's main partner countries. The Prime Minister also attributed the slowdown to the World Bank and the IMF reducing their forecasts for global macroeconomic indicators. At home, private investments have declined in the past 5 years. He said one of the central issues domestically was trying to improve the business climate, but he admitted that the nation faces issues in this regard, and both private and foreign direct investments have been decreasing steadily. Sarkisyan said that improving the business climate should be the nation's #1 priority. The Prime Minister says he will give a more detailed explanation when his office presents its full audit of this year's budget. As we reported yesterday, our Georgian neighbors went to the polls on Sunday the 27th to vote for their new president.
Georgi Margvelashvili of the Georgian Dream Party won over 60% of the vote. At a celebration outside the headquarters of the Georgian Dream Party, Margvelashvili told supporters, quote, "We have shown the world we can elect leadership in a free way," end of quote. Indeed, as soon as the polls had closed, his closest rival David Bakradze of the United National Movement conceded defeat and congratulated the newly elected president, something that rarely happens in the countries of the post-Soviet Union. The Georgian Dream Party was created by current Prime Minister Ivanishvili, who plans to step down shortly in favor of an unnamed successor. Under constitutional changes that take effect with the inauguration of the new president, the Prime Minister, who is chosen by Parliament, becomes the head of the government with full executive authority over domestic and foreign policy.
Peace talks between Armenia and Azerbaijan were slowed down because both nations were conducting elections this last year. That insight from Sabine Fraser, a senior fellow at the Atlantic Council. She's an expert on the South Caucasus, and she was at CivilNet offices last week. She believes the elections and the presidents were very much focused on the domestic situation and the electoral process. That's why peace negotiations took a back seat, she said. She's hopeful that there will be a resumption in new talks by the end of the year. She said that there are two other aspects that are important to underscore. Quote, "It is that the U.S. has a new co-chair who is interesting because he is a former ambassador who has a relatively high level in the State Department, which was not the case with some of the previous U.S. negotiators. He seems extremely committed to do this. This is going to be a job he will do full-time, which was also not the case with previous co-chairs." End of quote. Fraser also said that the Secretary of State John Kerry is also interested in the region. She said, quote, "There is hope that there will be some more interest and engagement by the United States because for a long time the process was driven by Russia and particularly President Medvedev. So it's better, I think, if you have a balanced approach and have all three co-chairs that are formally on board and trying to move the process."
The Azerbaijani delegation will boycott the Euronest Parliamentary Assembly plenary session that is scheduled to take place in Yerevan this November. Elkhan Suleymanov, the head of the Azeri delegation, released a statement explaining that they will not participate because of the European Parliament's resolution on the presidential election in Azerbaijan that was held on October 9th. The resolution said that the election did not meet international standards and emphasized that the campaign in Azerbaijan was carried out in violation of internationally accepted standards. The Armenian delegation to Euronest participated in the organization's plenary session in Baku, Azerbaijan, back in April of 2012. And here is a quick look at today's exchange rates.
The Central Bank of Armenia says the dollar is worth 405 dirhams and 76 luma. 657 dirhams is what you'll get for the British pound. The euro buys you 560 dirhams and the ruble buys you 12 dirhams and 76 luma.
And as for the weather, Yerevan will see a high of 18 degrees Celsius or 64.4 Fahrenheit with a low of 2 degrees Celsius or 35.6 Fahrenheit.
In Armenia's second largest city, Gyumri, the high will be 10 degrees Celsius with a low of -1.
In Stepanaget, the temperature will be a high of 13 degrees Celsius or 55.4 Fahrenheit with a low of 4 or 39.2 Fahrenheit.
And in the city of Aleppo, Syria, where one of the oldest Armenian communities is trying to survive, the temperature will be a high of 25 degrees Celsius or 77 Fahrenheit with an overnight low of 15 degrees Celsius or 59 Fahrenheit. The Union of Composers and Musicologists of Armenia has a new president.
Composer Aram Satyan was elected on October 27 at a special session. He received 43 votes, while the outgoing president, Robert Amirkhanyan, received 41 votes. Amirkhanyan had led the organization for 22 years. The session took place in a tense atmosphere, and it was at the insistence of Satyan's supporters that the votes cast by the delegates was counted openly. Aram Satyan is a second-generation composer. Both his father and uncle were notable composers. He studied under Edvard Mirzoyan and Alexander Arutyunyan. He has composed symphonies and concertos and has also composed over 300 songs for film and theater productions, including, Paul, 2 pop operas.
Illustrious career.
That's right. Finally, the U.S. Embassy has launched its American Documentary Showcase just last night.
The film festival will screen 23 films total between now and mid-November, including the sensational documentary about the New York Times.
Take note of the fact that journalism is alive and well and feisty, especially at the New York Times.
The documentaries will screen at the Tumo Center for Creative Technologies and also in the cities of Gyumri and Vanatsor. The film festival is part of the U.S. Embassy's Youth Empowerment Program, which includes master film classes and an essay contest. Participants were asked to write about an inspiring teacher, and more than 3,200 students participated.
I can't wait to see some of those documentaries. That's for sure. That's our digest for Tuesday, October 29th.
And as always, we would love to hear from you. Our email address is english@civilnet.am.
See you tomorrow.